Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is bouncing from this important area of support, which is helping to form a new pattern on the daily time frame. And on top of that, in less than 24 hours from now, new CPI inflation numbers will be released, which could heavily affect the market in the shorter term. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment. Definitely stick around. First of all, talking about the US CPI inflation numbers that will be released tomorrow. In fact, these new numbers will be released at exactly 12:30 p.m. in the GMT time zone on the 13th of September, so around this time tomorrow. And in case you're wondering, right now, the US CPI inflation rate is sitting at 3.2% year-over-year inflation in the US. But if you're looking at the expectations right now, the majority consensus is expecting 3.6% year-over-year inflation with tomorrow's new numbers. And if you're looking at the trading economics forecast, this is expecting 3.5% year-over-year inflation. And so essentially, based on expectations, the majority in the market is already expecting and pricing in for inflation to actually increase year-over-year compared to where it is right now. And so essentially, if we end up seeing 3.6% inflation tomorrow, then that should be relatively neutral for the markets because the majority is already expecting that number and already pricing that number into the markets. But if we see anything other than those expectations, other than 3.6% approximately, then basically we could see a volatile move in the markets. And basically, the further away from expectations we get, the more volatile that move in the markets should be. And so essentially, if we see around something in the 2% range or 4% range, then that should be very bad for markets or very good for markets, depending if it's on the upside or to the downside. And basically, what would be considered bullish is if the number comes in underneath those expectations. So essentially, if we see something like 3.2, 3.3%, then we should see a pump across the markets. But on the flip side, if inflation comes in above expectations, so for example, if we see something like 3.8%, 3.9%, or anything close to 4%, then we should see a dump across the markets. And once again, as I just said, the further away from expectations we are, the more volatile move that should be, and the closer to expectations we are, the more mild or neutral the move should be in the markets. And as always, as soon as the new number gets released, I'll be sure to tweet it out over on my Twitter. So if you don't follow me over there, make sure you're doing that. The link is down below in the description and in the pinned comment. And in case you're wondering why lower inflation, lower than expectations, would be good news for markets and higher than expectations would be bad news or bearish news for markets, it's simply all to do with the Federal Reserve and interest rates, because higher interest rates are more bearish for the economy and lower interest rates are more bullish for the economy, because lower interest rates leads to an expanding monetary supply, which basically means the total amount of money in the economy goes up the lower interest rates are, which means there's more demand for goods and services. But on the flip side, if rates are much higher, then basically the supply of money actually comes down if rates are so high. And so that essentially takes away demand from goods and services and can decrease prices, which once again is not good for the overall economy if rates go too high. And so once again, higher interest rates are considered bearish for markets. And if you're looking at the probabilities for the next Federal Reserve meeting or FOMC meeting, which is happening in roughly around 1 week from now on the 20th of September, as of right now, the majority in the futures market is pricing in a 93% chance of zero interest rate hike. So basically interest rates staying the same at the next Fed meeting. And the market is pricing in a 7% probability, a 7% chance of another 25 basis point hike, which means raising interest rates by 0.25%. And basically how those inflation numbers tie into all of this is essentially if inflation comes in a lot lower than expected, then that basically increases the chances that we will see no rate hike at the next Fed meeting, which once again, the lower rates are, the better that is for markets. But on the flip side, if we see inflation come in a lot higher than expectations, so anything around 4% or above that, for example, then that could actually increase the probability quite rapidly of a 25 basis point hike coming at the next Fed meeting, which once again, not a lot of market participants are currently pricing in. And so that scenario would be bearish for markets because once again, higher rates are not good for markets. And so in summary, tomorrow we are looking for an expected 3.6% year-over-year inflation rate. Anything other other than that, then we could see a volatile move, especially if we get far away from that expectation. And as always, once again, I will tweet out the new number as soon as it gets released over on my Twitter, link down below in the description and in the pinned comments. But anyway, now getting into the Bitcoin part of this video, this is on the 4-day Bitcoin chart. And right now, as I've recorded this video, Bitcoin is actually defending the point of invalidation here in the super trend indicator. Because first of all, in case you're new to this channel, this super trend indicator has basically been telling us that the price of Bitcoin is within a much larger bullish trend here on the larger time frames on the 4-day chart since around the beginning of this year, which obviously has proven to be correct. But obviously during this larger bullish trend forming higher lows and higher highs, we have seen shorter term bearish trends during the larger bullish trend, just like how we saw short-term bullish trends during the larger bearish trend just last year. But as always, there is a point of invalidation for the trend, which here in the super trend indicator, the point of invalidation is this line right here, which is sitting at approximately 25,000, just above 25,000. And over the last 1 day, we did actually see a small move below that level. But as I've mentioned in recent videos here on the channel, in order to actually confirm a reversal signal here in the super trend indicator, we need to see a confirmed break below that level with at least a 4-day candle close below 25k, but ideally weekly candle closes below 25k in order to confirm a trend reversal signal here in the super trend indicator in terms of the larger bullish trend. And so once again, with the recent bounce from that level, the price of Bitcoin is currently defending that point of invalidation, which technically means, at least for now, we're still technically within that much larger bullish trend that we've seen since the beginning of this year, at least until we actually invalidate the trend, which will happen at some point. And obviously it's at that point when we look towards more of a bearish trend on the larger timeframes. But obviously, if you're zooming into the daily Bitcoin chart, as I've been saying for a while now on the channel, since all the way back up here, obviously the trend on the daily time frame, the more shorter term trend, is a bearish trend like what we saw back here. And technically speaking, this shorter term trend, the daily bearish trend, has not yet reversed. Technically, we're still in this bearish trend on the daily time frame because we're still currently seeing lower highs and lower lows on this time frame. But if you're looking at the beginning of this bearish trend on the daily chart, of course, this mainly started with a bearish divergence on the daily Bitcoin chart, which I talked about all the way back up here. And this bearish divergence has remained active while the RSI has been trending to the downside on the daily time frame. And as of right now, we're still yet to actually break out above this descending line of resistance. And so technically speaking, we're still looking more bearish than bullish here in the trend on the daily chart. But as you can see in that daily Bitcoin RSI, obviously this is getting close to a possible breakout above this descending line of resistance. So all we really need to see is an actual breakout above that level and ideally breaking into new higher highs in the RSI in order to confirm more of a reversal in the RSI, because obviously we're already beginning to form higher lows. And so in that scenario, if we see a proper strong breakout in the RSI, that would be a sign of strength building again in the price of Bitcoin, similar to what we saw back here or back here, for example. And if that happens, if we actually see a breakout in the RSI above that level and ideally once again into new higher highs, then that can help to confirm this bullish divergence forming on the daily Bitcoin chart. And obviously over the last few days, I have talked about this bullish divergence potentially forming, but as of right now, it is not yet confirmed. Because in order to actually confirm this bullish divergence, first of all, we need to at least confirm this daily candle close in the green, ideally above 26k, in order to actually confirm this higher low in place in the RSI. Because otherwise, if we do not see a strong green candle confirm with a daily candle close, then that basically means the RSI has not really confirmed the higher low in place, which would mean the RSI could continue drifting to the downside, obviously failing to confirm that bullish divergence. So this is why we need to see this daily candle close actually confirm here in the green. And on top of that, once again, in order to become more confident that we're really starting to flip bullish again on the daily time frame out of that bearish trend, we need to see a proper breakout in the RSI above this descending line of resistance and to new higher highs. And another confirmation signal would obviously be higher highs in the price above this previous high just here. Once again, that would obviously be a strong signal pointing towards a bullish trend reversal here on the daily time frame. And so once again, at least as of right now, we have not yet seen those confirmation signals actually confirm, which means technically speaking, we're still within this shorter term bearish trend on the daily chart. But obviously it is important to be aware of those potential bullish signals beginning to form, getting closer to a possible reversal. But once again, we haven't confirmed that reversal, at least not yet. And obviously, just recently, the price has run into this important area of support, which was previous resistance back here, sitting in between around 24.3k to 25.3k. And as for the daily Bitcoin MACD, as of right now, this is still showing relatively low momentum, which basically means, at least in the somewhat shorter term, relative to the daily time frame, we don't really have a strong direction here in the price of Bitcoin, which is why we've mostly seen choppy sideways price action over the last 1 week or so. And as for short-term support and resistance, looking at the Bitcoin order books, we have a decent amount of buy orders sitting in between around 25.5k to 25.7k, acting as support. And as for resistance, we have a lot of sell orders in between around 26.5k to 26.7k, acting as resistance. And if you're looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart here on the weekly time frame, we can see this bounce from this previous area of resistance is continuing. And so, as I've explained recently on the channel, this basically means Bitcoin is currently holding up better than the majority of the crypto markets, because anytime where previous resistance actually flips into new support with a breakout and a successful retest and a bounce from that area, obviously this is bullish price structure here in the Bitcoin dominance. And once again, when the Bitcoin dominance is bullish, that means Bitcoin is gaining market share, so outperforming the majority of the crypto market on average. But on the flip side, if we actually saw a major breakdown in the Bitcoin dominance or a major move to the downside, like what we saw back here or back here, for example, then these are examples of altcoin seasons where we actually see the altcoin market on average perform much better than Bitcoin. And so once again, with the Bitcoin dominance still displaying bullish price structure here on the weekly time frame, this is pointing towards Bitcoin essentially doing better than the majority of the crypto market on average. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and we can see that right now the price of ETH is still trading below this important area of support, which should now be acting as new resistance, sitting in between around 1620 to 1660. And so unlike how Bitcoin actually bounced and defended its important area of support on the daily chart, once again the price of ETH is still trading below its important area of support. And this simply goes back to that Bitcoin dominance chart looking bullish, showing Bitcoin performing better than most altcoins, including Ethereum. And as for the trend here on the daily time frame, just like Bitcoin, we have not actually confirmed a reversal from this bearish trend on the daily chart here in the price of ETH. And something similar can be said about the RSI. Once again, we have not yet actually broken out into new higher highs here in the daily Ethereum RSI. And as for the daily Ethereum MACD, this is still currently showing a relatively low momentum on the daily time frame. But just going back to that daily Ethereum RSI, once again, what is now forming, as I've mentioned in recent videos here on the channel, is a potential bullish divergence pattern, which as of recording this video has not yet confirmed. Because at least as of right now, we have not yet confirmed this daily candle in the green with a successful daily candle close, at least not yet. But if we do end up seeing this successful daily candle close in the green, showing a strong bounce here in the RSI, basically confirming this higher low in place in the daily Ethereum RSI, then that can actually help to confirm this bullish divergence on the daily chart. So once again, all we need to see is this daily candle close actually confirm the candle in the green. But in order to become even more confident that we're really starting to flip more bullish again on the daily time frame after this bearish trend, we ideally need to see an actual reversal in the RSI above these previous highs, forming new higher highs. And so once again, at least for now, we have not yet confirmed a reversal from this bearish trend on the daily chart, but we are potentially getting closer to one based on these bullish signals beginning to show up. And as for support and resistance, looking at that Fibonacci retracement tool, we still have the 50% retracement level acting as support at around 1510 to 1520, which is very close to where we've seen a bounce just recently over the last 1 day. Obviously, the price got very close to 1520, but in a more bearish scenario, if the price of ETH actually broke below around 1.5k, then in that case, we have the important golden pocket area of support sitting in between around 1360 to 1.4k. And as for for resistance, once again, this previous area of support right here, sitting in between around 1620 to 1660, could now act as new resistance. But either way, if you want to know how to make a lot of money in crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or simply chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.